Hello, friends, and welcome to Sound Experience's Livestream Adventurous Cup fundraiser. Thank you for tuning in today. My name is Catherine Collins, and I've had the extraordinary honor of serving as Executive Director here for the past 15 years. During this time, I've seen more than 20,000 children and teens climb aboard for powerful on-the-water programming on Adventurous. I've heard their stories, I've heard many of your stories, and I've even collected some of my own. If you're tuning in, we know that you care about Adventurous and her youth and environmental mission. Thank you. Over the next half hour or so, we hope to catch you up on what's been happening here at Sound Experience, and we hope you'll be inspired by what you see and hear. If you have questions or comments, we really hope you'll write them in the chat box. We want to hear from you, and we want to know that you're here. So I'll be honest, these past couple of years have been challenging. While we couldn't serve kids in person last year, our education team didn't slow down. They poured on the creativity. Our small but powerful education team and captains designed and delivered virtual programs from the deck of Adventurous to hundreds of kids throughout the Pacific Northwest. There were even some comical, if slightly tragic moments, like when we lost contact with the classroom because the cell phone we were recording in fell overboard. Most important, our team used this time to foster and deepen our partnerships with community-based organizations that reach young people who need us the most. And we've been underway all year with programs for these kids. This was made possible with public funding and with generous support from private individuals just like you. Kids from South Everett's Casino Road neighborhood and across Seattle neighborhoods have climbed aboard this year for week-long programs. They've been coming to the ship each day to learn new skills, what they're capable of, and of course, learning to sail a tall ship. It's been awesome. We can't wait to share some of the stories from this year's programs, but before that, I'd love to introduce you now to Rusty Lhamon, Adventurous Cup boss and hard-working board member, to whom we're deeply grateful for making Adventurous Cup a reality now in its second year. Rusty, take it away.
Thanks, Catherine. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Adventurous Cup. This is an awesome opportunity to support the wonderful programs of Adventurous, and it came about last year during COVID-19 when we were really trying to figure out how to deal with this pandemic and how to keep things alive. And what we came up with was a really fun event that last year was the inaugural year, and this year is now our second annual, where we are inviting people to participate with us either in person or virtually out on the water on the Salish Sea, where we all love to play and enjoy the environment. And the way we do that is we have people bring their boats or participate virtually online, and it's all about how to raise money for these programs. The way the day starts is people gather at the Social Bay Marina, and then we have a parade out to the race course led by Adventurous. Boats come decorated, they come with flags, they come with costumes. It's really a lot of fun. It involves power boats, sailboats. Last year we had a team that came out in full costume, pirate turtles, and they're back again. To provide your support for the Adventurous Cup, it's easy. You go to the Sound Experience website and you can choose a team. Now there's a list of all the different teams that are participating, and you can pick one and support them or start your own. When you scroll on the website, you'll see pictures of the teams, the mission statement that they have, what it is about Adventurous that's important to them. Now when you found your favorite team, you can click Donate Now and easily donate to support that team's efforts towards Adventurous. Again, all support goes to Adventurous. And when you donate, again, it's really important for people to know you can donate as much or as little as works for you. And what's very important for us at Sound Experience and at Adventurous is having a show of support. Every little donation counts. So if you feel like you've found anything valuable in Adventurous, please join us and donate today. It's really important that we have your support.
I've been working on board as the program coordinator and the CTE instructor. That stands for Career and Technical Education. And so I've been running a lot of programs with our high school students that have been doing Introduction to Careers this summer. And we've run multiple programs with students coming on board and they're looking to figure out how to become a part of the maritime industry. They live in Seattle. They are in the Seattle Public School District. They're coming on board to explore, and they're also coming on board to get to figure out what they can do to be able to continue to live in Seattle after. A lot of students come on board and they don't know anything about the industry, and there's so much industry around here that is adventurous included. And adventurous is looking like a little bit of a different style of being in the industry, but still a part of the maritime industry around here. And so students are able to come on board, they're able to get the introductory skills to safety, to traditional sailing skills, as well as learning about our electronic instruments, navigation, going out and seeing all the different industries out there. There's tugboats that we see all the time, cargo ships, everything like that. So they're able to come on board, and they're able to, one, kind of like ground themselves and find themselves after this crazy year. They're able to do something in person, which is really incredible. And they're also able to experience interaction with others. And after a year and a half of online schooling, that's a huge thing right now. We've had to do everything from, we brought our hand washing station up on deck. We have worked with doing some partial online work as well. So we've had a lot of watching really cool YouTube videos to help supplement what we're doing on the ship, and then having discussions where students are talking about what they've learned. We have things that are going home, not tying, practicing kits that are just for them, and so they're doing it at home. And we've made it so that we can do almost everything that we're working on the deck of the ship. So a lot of times we would be spending time below, working on like different systems below, but we've figured out different ways to bring as much of that as possible on deck, which is kind of nice because we all get to see each other during the day. And so we have students who are being able to work together on things while still trying to keep our distance. But I think the main thing is just that we have had to figure out what parts can be online programming and what parts are things that are what we're spending our short amount of time that we have on board together and what we're doing actually on the ship. Students teach me so much every day. I like to tell them that I am learning from them, less so than they're learning from me. They teach me how to let the little things slide. They teach me how to laugh at myself, and they teach me to be vulnerable. And I think that's a huge thing. And I came on board as a student. I came on board as a kid a few times over, and I think that being able to see them grow in themselves and like find their people on board is something that like brings me joy.
Thank you, Emma, for all your shipboard leadership as program coordinator this year, and a huge thank you to all our crew of educators who are giving their all to inspire learning in kids. Whether it's the environment or maritime skills, you are rocking it.
Hello, this is Julie Masura, the board president for Sound Experience. I'm super excited to have you here today. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the way that I became involved with Sound Experience. I began my partnership in 2011, in which I was actually contacted by the captain, the program director, so that they could do some research with me. I explore plastic pollution in the oceans. And so since then, we've built this partnership in which the students and the participants and the crew actually collect samples, and my students from the University of Washington will process a sample and share those results with the participants. It is at that time that I discovered this wonderful program called Girls at the Helm. Girls at the Helm is an all-female identifying crew, girls from 13 to 17 that get together and talk about science with science mentors from the community.
My name is Abby, and I went on the Adventurous in 2019. I got introduced to it by Julie Masura. I'd been doing research with her on microplastics, and she asked if we wanted to share it with girls at the helm. And so I and Maggie Jo went and did that. What I learned from the experience is a lot about sailing. I'd never stayed on a sailboat before, and I also learned a lot about teaching. I'd never taught our procedure, sampling technique, or anything to anyone else really besides a couple people in the lab, so it was fun to kind of try things out and work with what we had on the boat. I think the girls really learned from having an all-girls crew. It seemed by the end that they felt like really empowered, and they were much more interested in science and sailing than they were when they first got on the boat. And I feel like they made a lot of friends. Like, they all got each other's phone numbers at the end. It was really cool.
Hi, I'm Maggie Jo. I'm an undergrad student at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and I was introduced to Girls at the Helm from Julie Masura, who is my advisor I'm doing undergrad research with. I was interested in the program originally just because it sounded like a really good, fun experience, and I really liked the idea of being involved in a program that's focused on female and girl empowerment and having an all female crew, and just talking about fields that women are historically been excluded from, like maritime culture and science in general. So what I got out of the trip was just basically learning a lot about just other people and different backgrounds and different interests, and just really enjoyed watching the girls kind of come out of their shells throughout the trip. So I think a lot of them just really learned how to be a community with each other, and a community of females, and having different experiences and interests. And there was a lot of girls who even had their interests change throughout the trip, and sharing different goals throughout, and being able to express those goals with each other and with mentors and with the crew. And it was overall just a really great experience for us, and I think for the girls as well.
It's that program that really empowers these girls to become leaders in the maritime industry. And so I'm hoping that you will find that value today and help to contribute to this wonderful fundraising event, the Race for the Sailor's Sea, the Adventurous Cup. I want to thank you so much for being here today, and I cannot wait to meet you on the ship, the Adventurous, in the future.
Hi again, friends. I mentioned before that we've had the honor of working with and deepening partnerships in the past couple of years with amazing organizations in our communities. These visionary partners work hard to get their youth to participate in enriching programs aboard Adventurous. I want to give a quick shout out to all the organizations and their staff who helped us reach these deserving young people in our communities and who most need these programs. We are proud to work alongside you to support families and their children in our vulnerable communities with our ship and our resources. I'm honored now to introduce you to Captains Nate Seward and Caitlin Shaw. They are inspiring to youth and adults alike for their mastery of what it takes to captain Adventurous and their passion for youth education.
Adventurous is immeasurably special. To me personally, at least, it's a place that has, I feel in a lot of ways I've grown up here, and it is a place that a lot of the people that I have formed close relationships throughout my life have been here. There's something very special about this boat. I've worked on quite a few other boats, and this one has a way of bringing in really special people.
I got involved as one of the students in one of the programs. I came when I was in high school and sailed in a fantastic voyage, and it was fantastic. I didn't want to go back to school. I did, but I knew that this was what I wanted to do. So when I graduated from college, I sailed in traditional sailing ships all over the world. And 20 years later, I came back to be one of the operating captains on my first ship. This ship is very important to me, and I'm not the only story like this. There are many people that were introduced to the water, introduced to the maritime profession, introduced to the Salish Sea through this ship. She's been the keystone for so many people.
Pretty much any time we have a few spare moments in a day, we're filling that with maintenance. That maintenance often looks like little bits of painting, and each time we paint something, it involves you have to prep the surface. It typically takes about 3 times longer than actually putting paint on it. We put oil on the deck, we put oil on the wood, we varnish everything that can take varnish. We work on the steel surfaces to maintain those. We work on the rig to make sure that is safe and functional and ready for people to, not only for us to sail with it, but also for sending participants aloft when they're here for longer programs. And it just takes time, lots of time.
We've been doing a lot of work, even this season during programs. Sometimes after the programs are done for the day, the professional crew will continue working on the ship to make sure we maintain the condition that she's in. There was an enormous restoration project that's very extensive, and the ship is in very good condition, and we need to keep her that way.
We have a structure made out of wood that sits in a saltwater environment. So while it's in that saltwater environment, it is actually fairly well protected by that environment. The salt itself helps to preserve the wood, but it degrades all of the things that we put on top of the wood to keep the fresh water out. So the paint, the varnish, the tar, the oil, that all gets worn down by the salt on those surfaces. So really it's not so much the saltwater environment. We're not trying to keep the salt out, but we're trying to keep the salt off, because that takes off the shell that keeps the fresh water out. So when we get rained on or snowed on, that is what is trying to get into the boat to undo what we've done.
I knew that sailing here, I would learn a lot, but if I really wanted to be a good captain, I knew I had to go somewhere else. So I sailed around the world, and that really forged me. Moving a ship to all of the different countries, meeting all the different people, that's what prepared me just as much as everything I learned about rigging, everything I learned about sail making. It's the people that I met on the beach, the children that surround you and sing. That's what I needed before I was ready to come back. So I sailed for 10 years, almost one ship right after the other, some for more than one season, some relatively briefly, and I learned something everywhere, because everyone you meet knows something that you don't. And it was finally time to come home. And I'm really excited to be here. I'm happy to be back.
Hi, my name is Satish Iyer. I've been associated with Sound Experience since 2017 and most recently as a board member. My inspiration to join this great organization is driven by the opportunity to help every youth and child that joins our programs. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to all our sponsors. In spite of the challenges of a global pandemic, Sound Experience has continued to deliver excellent educational programs for our teens and youth. Clearly, we couldn't have done this without your support. Adventurous is sailing proudly today, educating young and curious minds because of your sponsorship and donations. Your involvement with Adventurous inspires others to do the same. It signals to people in the region that it is important to preserve Puget Sound and get youth onto the water. Your support enables youth from marginalized and underserved communities to experience the water. This year, our programs have given them a safe space and an opportunity to explore maritime trades and marine sciences. I also want to remind everyone that we also offer workspace sail programs. You can bring up to 40 of your colleagues aboard Adventurous to uniquely experience teamwork by raising the sails, taking the helm, and inspiring each other. Every sponsor dollar makes a huge difference for us. Thank you for being our shipmates. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish, for your support, and also to all the businesses and companies that support this important work. As we come to the end of today's program, I hope you know how grateful we are for all of you tuning in today, especially as we continue to navigate the changing pandemic landscape. If you have questions or want to connect, my contact information is at the end of this live stream. We'll end today with some observations and some wisdom from Emrys Takahashi, a wonderful Sound Experience crew member who has inspired me all year long with their energy and their enthusiasm for shipboard education.
It's been definitely different from what we usually do, but I think that the ways that we've adapted our programming and our operations to fit the needs of the students that we serve has been really, really great to watch from my perspective as someone who doesn't have much involvement in the organizational level of things. It's really incredible to me how we've still been able to find the students who need us and to get to them and to get them to us. I think a lot about how far, both physically and sometimes emotionally, the students have to come to get on board. And I think that one of the most important things that we can do as a crew and as a community is to meet them there. I think that one of the things that we do best is accepting every student as they are and with the skills that they bring and the challenges that they bring, and recognizing them for who they are and taking what they offer us and showing them what they're able to do with it. One of our very first students in our very first programs, we were reading the evaluation forms, and one of the questions is something like, what is the most important thing that you learned? What's something that you learned about yourself during your time on board? And the student's answer was, I learned that I can do good if I try. Or it was, I learned that I can do good if I try really hard. And that was so meaningful to me because it's the same thing that I've learned on Adventurous, and I think it's the same thing that every person who comes on Adventurous is able to take away. That it's an experience that you get out of it what you put into it, not necessarily in terms of the knowledge that you bring already with you, but your willingness to learn and to take part in this amazing community that we've built. And I think that the most important thing that we do as a crew is encouraging these students to bring what they can and to try really hard to realize that they can do good. There's a lot of students I've worked with who have come on board who are unsure about things, who have had a rough year like we all have. And it takes them a while to get used to it. I always end the week wishing that we had more time with them, because you see them come on board and you're like, I don't know if they're even having a good time. I don't know if they want to be here. But by the end of the week, it's a sense of ownership that they develop over the ship and over their own capability to be able to come out here and understand what they're doing and do something that they feel is important, that they know is real, and be good at it and get good at it and be encouraged to try even when they're bad at it so that they can become good at it. It always reminds me of what Adventurous has given me personally, because it was not very many years ago that I was one of those students. I came on as a 12-year-old and I kept coming back. I was going through a lot at that time in my life, and Adventurous was always a place where I could come and know that I was accepted and know that I was welcome and feel like I was capable. Something about the ship and the community and the environment, as soon as the kids get on and they get their hands on something that they know is real, it's a huge change from what the world expects of them versus what they end up realizing that they're capable of.
P is for party, A is for alright, R is for ready, and T is for tonight. Y is for you, because you know what to do, so party! Don't let your mama know. Party! Because she won't let you go. Party!
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope if you're in a position to make a donation, you'll support a virtual or real boat today, or just give a gift online. If you've already given, thank you. On behalf of all of us at Sound Experience and aboard Adventurous, thank you for keeping Adventurous sailing strong.
Okay, Alex, what are you going to sing?
We are going to sing South Australia.
South Australia. Want to practice?
Yeah. In South Australia I was born. Heave away, haul away. In South Australia, round Cape Horn, we're bound for South Australia. Haul away, you rolling kings. Heave away, haul away. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia.
Yeah.